I'm already a fan. I want them to win the whole thing.
You do? Because they're dropping him multi-power?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a sucker for it. What can I say? ETSH, they found win. He was the lone survivor of the fight in the fight. Goodness me. Hopefully not that. But the fight in the last game.
Smelly.
That's some off chicken dinners there. But he was the only one to be able to get out of that scrap we saw in the last match. But we'll go down first this time. I know.
The lone survivor, you say. Must have been pretty deadly, right?
He's been sat in the casting booth with you before.
What the hell? The hell? That's crazy talk.
No, you're very clean.
Everyone knows I'm incapable of. Over towards the western side, we've got Arena from last game. Who were not silent, but they were deadly over on that top side. Now looking over to the east, it's a bit of a more difficult run out for them. They got Influence Rage in front of them, trying to get a little bit of revenge for last game. Feel some vindication from that hold that they had. I think the only thing that concerned me in that last game was Tony K's angle and the time which he was peaking. I was looking back on it just on the feed, and I think that the reason he's doing that is to prevent any runouts coming through from Influence Rage. And that's the only reason I can think he would go for that. But again, they were fairly locked in. I suppose you can't play too passive. So he does his job. He did make it slightly more difficult though. And I think maybe you could have backed off the angle a little bit quicker, because you only have to do like short bursts of fire. It depends how accurate Influence Rage is there. But I'm really going into very much specifics there. So I don't think there was too much that bothered me from E-Arena's gameplay last game. I want to see them do something similar again. You've got a lot of momentum coming off from the back of that rondo. It's time to put that to good use.
Absolutely. It's a tool in your arsenal, and you need to be able to utilize everything at your disposal. So hopefully they can use, as you say, that momentum. Influence Rage, I mean, they have a little bit of momentum coming into this one. Everyone over 10 points on that last match will probably, well, hopefully have a little bit of momentum, right? An Alliance, we'll see if they can keep things going. On their
I don't see that very often.
Yeah, it's all the way out to the west. Everybody who took that really nice disparate split over on that east side, they're going to have to crunch in, cram in as best they can. Sending the overpopulation out west side, past Gatka, towards the swamp as well, the fields to the north. Really tricky terrain to play around with. Influence Rage playing in the U-bend right now, off the road. And seeing if they can hold off on those banks, those terrain ridge lines that cover off towards that north side. A little bit of surround there. Arena, I mean, they love that high ground, so you're not going to get him off there anytime soon. Over towards KIE. There's that momentum. There's another Elim. Second of the match.
I mean, they're going.
कल से start किया हूँ
वापस. They're trying to get more done. Tony K finding Ragnarok from GK as well. Picks up the second net. Some more shots. Little bit more wild. Tony K, but they're looking over towards Kevin. I mean, does have a bit of a kick on it there with the 3x and the silencer on board. Bit tough to make happen. NC2 though will get out of there. Is it NC squared or is it NC2? What do you think?
ये मैं पहला मैच देखा राउंडो का 10 किल मारा ना वो साकुरा 10-11 किल पहले मैच में खोल दिया भाई लॉबी.
MC2 then maybe it would be MC squared, right? But nah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You haven't, the N hasn't earned it, you know, hasn't got the rep.
Yeah, if you put two N's close enough together though, maybe you go to MC squared.
That is how that works, I'm pretty sure.
These
Cools take a shot out towards Virtus Pro on the south side. Both trying to rotate in, past Twisted Minds on that south edge as well, in these hills, down towards the roadside. There's really nothing that is going to be safe for the time being. Virtus Pro, they're not getting their teammate back up, but can they keep everyone else alive? Can they stay up as 3? Because Ericord is very low.
I mean, Virtus Pro's had some tough rotates so far. They keep running into squads and can't quite find a place to stay. Again, I do genuinely think this has been some really nice play from every single team in terms of rotations. Even just like this zone in particular, it's very hard to keep 16 players in it, 16 squads in it. Yet we're doing it. Like there's fields off towards the east, there's fields on the north, there's fields on the west. There is this strip of land down towards the south side, and we have 16 teams.
बाप रे जली भाई तो क्लस्टर में बैठे हुए रे 1 2 3 3 टीमें आगे टीआर के
It's not exciting, but it is beautiful.
झाड़ दे भाई ऊपर बैठ के 9 kills मारा अच्छा ऐसा क्या
central area Arena gonna have to give up the hold on the west side. They've been holding about
भाई लो वीपी तो ऐसे ही मर गई बे गाड़ी में
for the longest time and they are now going to have to regroup probably towards Turney K towards that south edge, but maybe a little bit closer. It's a very field heavy ending though on this one. We are taking up the majority of the land with that field.
Yeah, I mean there is not a lot of area to play here. I sometimes think that like the land here sort of looks like America, like this field. Look at the same shape as the land mass.
Looks like America.
You know? No. See what I'm saying? No, maybe you don't feel it.
अरे यार फिर नो हो
गया. Actually,
easy for bad boy. Not so easy.
It's the wrong way round, first of all, it's reflected. Let's crack on with the game. Because we've got Arcred trying to roll up to Weibo, who have Regnum KIE even further beyond
WG के point तो होंगे
ठीक ठाक. That this central hill is going to be a major feature of this zone, and the fact that Weibo have the top of it when Regnum KIE were there much earlier is nice for them, but there is that counterpoint to it. Maybe they're more content with that north side.
Yeah, if you're Regnum KIE, actually this is like a bit of a... It's a more smart maneuver, in my opinion, is that you're sort of playing with Weibo as opposed to against them. It's a little bit underhanded in terms of the way you're playing it out, where any team that comes into this small valley between them is going to feel the force of both squads. And you essentially put yourself in a stalemate to live further into this game.
Yeah, बच गया भाई यार.
As well, because everyone's going to want to crash onto Weibo, right? No one really wants to crash Regnum KIE.
थोड़ा सा
it is a little bit tough, right? It's
hello.
Maybe not the best idea. I think crashing anyone is still a bad idea. Like it is going to go poorly for you.
But I mean, you have to crash.
I got that.
When you have to make that choice, yeah, sure. That's probably where we're going to find it.
Because you can isolate fights there in terms of sightlines. Like that's one of the few positions on the map where you can isolate sightlines and get it into a 1v1. But with Regnum KIE being here, it's just so difficult because you can't play on the ridge side to the west. Like you have to full commit. It is interesting the way they've set it up, and basically this means that Arcred, Weibo, and Regnum KIE are likely just going to be like, well, guess we're all staying here until stage 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the spot. You don't want to give it up. They are really holding each other at arm's length, but True Rippers trying to deliver on that gunfire promise coming on through. They are doing a lot. Twisted Minds really suffering. Burmese Ghouls with a little assist on the outside, and True Rippers may be able to stay alive as 3, but Burmese Ghouls try to roll over the top as well. The fight entirely. But Lord, I didn't even see him there, but was he inside the hovercraft the whole time? Oh no! Alliance now with the last player of True Rippers, Jelly, causing problems.
बहुत थर्ड पार्टी आ गया इन पे बहुत ज्यादा थर्ड पार्टी आ गया सारा किल भी चोरी हो गया इनको.
No, it's not happening. I mean, that's a horrible fight. It was going to pop up at some point. You have to third party here if you want to maintain a position. Influence Rage. Stonks just went through the roof right now on that position towards the swamp.
Oh, yeah. That is going to get busy on that north side. But, I mean, holding it all at this stage might be too much. And actually, Geeky going to sidle on into the west side of that swamp position, so they'll be sharing it. The first crash onto the center's going, and it is towards Arcred and Weibo coming through from Team Flashblank. looking for that central field hill towards that tornado siren.
I mean, this is not cool, man. It's not cool. These three guys, they held this first. All right? You stop bullying my 12-man team.
TR का push थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगा कि reckless था.
There we go.
खुद भी मरे और जो टीम होल्ड गई तो उनको ही मरवा दिया.
Softened up a little bit there. Does go down. Tops is the trade-off though for it, and Team Flash, they still have a player out towards the north side, so it is basically just in that middle spot.
ठीक है, लेकिन पहला ही मैच था अभी
moving over, wants to get that res and needs the backup in the area. KIE, actually, they break the peace accords. Blank.
Yeah, that's uncool. Yeah, that's uncool. That's really uncool.
Oh,
this is even more uncool. All right, we could have all won. We could have all won together.
Oh, top three, not to be
Ragnar killed
as well. They're across the field and this up to Blank. Maybe a 5-team hold on the central tornado siren.
Oh, bro, is this my 15-man team? Yes, please. All right.
Oh dear.
Okay.
I need.
KIE starts to sling the grenades. I mean, those are brutal.
Gun scene did yeah.
And another for Silas. Nade over the top. Zed Wolf polished off the knock with a spray down, and that is big. Another nade coming through. Oh no! Wayball.
Sandwich हो गया भाई पूरा.
Catastrophically bombarded here around the
ये होता जो sideline wipe नहीं करेगा तो ऐसी मौत मिलेगी.
Everybody else seemingly unscathed. I mean, they had that little scrap on the south edge, the regroup from Team Flash. Boars, they're trying to approach. Everybody wants to get in towards the tornado siren. They hear it blaring. I think the back tires on that monster truck might have been out, but they're still going to make it work. Bose moves on in for the spray, but has to descend and stay alive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is all KIE's fault. All right. If only they could just be a little bit friendlier, maybe this wouldn't have happened. I was thinking they do waste grenades by throwing those over towards Weibo. There was no full commit.
WBG का सिर्फ एक बंदा मरा, बाकी सब revive हो गया.
Nice. So yeah, you get a couple of knocks. I think potentially you ruin the utility.
Nice nade, bhai. Snow-X.
That's a bit of French passion right there.
Sure, they'll be happy with that. The Balls are trying to move in and take the position that Team Flash moved in towards, but that is a big nade over towards the back and a little bit of a response. Turns him into a bit of a pancake, but he's down in the smoke and able to bide his time. Nicely found. Oh, it's all over.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much, but
oh no,
influence rage, more like influencing the circle. Am I right, guys? As it moves down towards the south, and that's probably a free win, if I'm honest. It's a fairly easy win off the back of that one. Both do get out of the way, and you can see actually the nades that were sent over the top over toward. Oh my god! Actually, it's not bad. We're both like, we need things.
भाई आप ही मेहनत कर रहे हो क्या राइजिंग वाला टूर्नामेंट?
We need them.
अरे ये मिरामार में अभी नेट गया था, उसका ये क्यों नहीं करवाया रीमैच?
It's turned into a bit of an extraction, shooter looter.
They were getting completely bombarded out blank. They're almost all at full HP now. Weibo managed to put themselves back together. Ramses wants to try and change that. No, up for order.
नहीं भाई 40-50 सेकंड के लिए नेट गया था. सब कोई कंप्लेन. अरे तो वो आपको रीमैच कराना पड़ेगा ना उसका. गेम इशू हमारा तो नुकसान हो गया ना. अरे तो भाई उसमें हमारा गेम गया ना.
Very nice. That guy, we're just getting more boxes. I like it. Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
रीमैच होना चाहिए ब्रो. सबका नेट गया है.
Zethan's another there off in the distance. That's them up to 2 heliums total. Maybe it was maybe KIE would just keep them on their toes, you know, right? I got to give them
pretending to fight so nobody else would join.
Exactly. Otherwise, no one would have believed.
Yeah. That's very honestly. Silas is so smart for that. You know, brilliant strategy. coming through. Maybe that'll change though, because Silas and Loxy gonna take down. That's actually from Alliance, and now
अरे
again.
तो भाई अब कॉम्पोजिशन पॉइंट दे दो, इमेज मत करो। 7 पॉइंट हमारे बनते कॉम्पोजिशन के, क्योंकि 4 हमारे किल थे और 3 आपको देने ही पड़ते कॉम्पोजिशन के। 7 पॉइंट दे दो हमें, बात खत्म। हाँ तो 7 पॉइंट कॉम्पोजिशन तो आपको देने पड़ेंगे ना, क्योंकि अरे भाई जिनका नुकसान हुआ उनको तो दोगे ना। जो मान लो कंपाउंड में होल्ड कर रहा है बैठे बैठे, उसका नट गया, अगर आप उसको दे दोगे तब तो कुछ फायदा नहीं है ना। हमारा तो फाइट पे गया है ना। अरे आपका भी फॉल्ट नहीं, गेम का इशू है तो, लेकिन वो आपको करना पड़ेगा रिजॉल्व ना। भाई राइडर का 60 के आपका 600 के, आपको स्पोर्ट्स रूम दिया गया क्राफ्टन के साइड से। हाँ तो एक रीमैच तो करा ही सकते थे, कुछ नहीं होता, कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता।
The progenitors. Last player going down on the outside for EGxMERNOX. They had a difficult crossing to play. Arena, by the way, they've been slowly playing this western side. They held
ठीक है भाई, कम से कम कॉम्पोजिशन कर दो कि हमारा टूर्नामेंट जा रहा है ना उस चक्कर में। कॉम्पोजिशन कर दो कि हम क्वालीफाई हो जाएंगे, या तो फिर कोई ग्रुप में एडजस्ट कर दो हमें।
For Arena, they're playing Edge. I actually think Edge
भाई जो क्वालीफाई हो रहे हैं वो क्यों ही बोलेंगे, तुम मेरी बात बताओ। 16 में से 12 टीम में 12 तो नहीं बोलेंगे कुछ। हाँ नीचे वालों से पूछ लो, प्रॉब्लम आया ठीक है करो।
I'm going to go ahead and say it is that I do think the rotations have been a
पॉइंट
little
कैसे
slick
ये कॉम्बिनेशन पॉइंट 7 पॉइंट तो एवरेज ही है। स्काई वाले भी 7 पॉइंट दिए थे।
To watch happen. I think Arena is definitely benefiting from that as an edge team because there's no one else holding them. And they could just slowly sweep their way in. It's very cool.
ठीक है भाई, देख लो आपको जैसा लगे, मेरा काम था बात कर रहा हूँ।
Top 3 right now, still very much in. And DRX, I think, maybe in one of the rougher spots here, although Alliance do have to move forward. So, no, actually, I take it back. I think Alliance are in the rougher spot against DRX, who are in the next zone.
भाई मैं सेंसी कैसे बनाऊं यार, सामने आला बंदा को एम नहीं जाता है, फिर प्रैक्टिस करते रहो ब्रो ट्रेनिंग ग्राउंड में। ट्रेनिंग ग्राउंड में जितना प्रैक्टिस करोगे उतना अच्छा रहेगा आपके लिए। टूर्नामेंट खेलना ही नहीं चाहिए भाई।
Again, Arena under pressure from Suit, from Order, from everybody else from that Alliance high ground that they are still holding on.
Yeah, Arenas, they just need to withstand them, basically. They need to withstand versus Weibo. You should get yourselves a top 5 off the back of this one, but that'll be all that they'll be given, with 7 points total there on the elims, not to mention the placement points as well.
करने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, जबरदस्ती आया हूं मैं लाइव।
But yeah, I think for Weibo, it's definitely a case of they got a taste for the boxes too much, and then got a little bit complacent with their positioning. Arena though, good smokes, slowly pushing forward here. They do need Alliance to be a little bit more aggressive though, because right now Influence Rage can fully turn attention this way.
And maybe up into a solid spot here. I mean, this is really big for both Influence Rage and for Arena. After coming top 2 in that last match. Yeah, I mean, brilliant elim count for Alliance as well. This is a big top 3 starting to form very, very early on. I'm sure it's only 2 matches and that volatility will potentially decrease, but I mean, Arena feeling the APG reinvigoration?
Well, we'll wait and see. I'm pretty sure that they're likely to go down in 4th place here. Very difficult for them now. I think they're out of smokes. Yes, they are out of smokes. They have 15 nades, but not Rondo. You can't create the craters here on Erangel. Jimmy just trying to provide as many smokes as possible for the rest of the team to regroup on it, but DRX is not likely to let them leave. Yeah, for E-Arena, it's a fully pitched fight here versus Influence Rage, and Influence Rage can hear the fighting happening behind them. They don't have to look that way, so all they need to focus on doing is holding out this team on the north side. Super simple game for them, and I think that is the main thing for Influence Rage right now, is that their game has been simple, right? It's been nothing special. Every step of the way, it's been very clear goals that they need to hit.
इस मीटर है जोन इनका, पॉइंट तो ले ही ले, 4-3-7 पॉइंट तो मिल ही रहा है।
Yeah, fighting through on that south edge, clearing out so much and getting the elim count that they have. It's brilliant stuff. Arena gonna move out towards the field.
बच गया भाई। अरे तो
सब बच गए। अरे नहीं नहीं, ऐसे ही बोला साकुरा मर गया बेचारा। ओए, दो नॉक।
coming through from out in the fields, threading the needle there. DRX with the zone pushing, they're going to have to move forwards, but I don't know if they have the time to get these reses on board. Little boy looking for the shots towards NT2, but the hay bales keeping him safe.
अरे यार मर गई।
I mean, they're down now, but that double knockover towards DRX was phenomenal. And now Influence Rage immediately turns tail and will look towards guys on the
चिकन
south
तो
side.
इन्फ्लुएंस का ही लग रहा है।
Really here is depending on who's getting the second place. Who gets that additional placement point? Pretty sure it should be Alliance. They've done a very good job to withstand DRX and these bounces. Force them out of position. Now they're
निकलना पड़ेगा,
inside.
को निकलना
If
पड़ेगा।
goes down, they'd just be happy with getting some more of these elims on side towards DRX. Diego finds a couple, but Iftar will pick up at least one.
क्या करते भाई, पूरा पिन पोज इधर है।
They have not been able to get the crossing. Now it's 3 versus 4. Influence Rage. They had this sort of numbers advantage, but this time they've got the high ground, as opposed to against E-Arena in the last. But it's still be Southeast Asia giving them a run for it. The Brazilians trying to hold their nerve this time, moving forward.
छोड़ दे इसको भाई, मजा आ जाएगा। दे दिया नॉक। वो नहीं करेंगे ना ये? नहीं करेंगे चलो। वो जोन ही नहीं है उनका। वो 1v1 है। अरे यार दे दिया। अच्छा मैच था। तब स्पॉन्सर इन्फिनिक्स ही है।
And from a second place, they launched themselves.
उन्होंने नेमिंग राइट्स नहीं दे रखे बस।
I felt like there was maybe a situation there where Alliance wins versus Influence Rage. There was a lot of whiff shots towards the end there from Influence Rage. It felt a little bit over-aggressive at times, but overall, very well played to Alliance. I think they could be super pleased with that ending. Even if they came second place, they were popping off towards the end.
Oh yeah, beautiful stuff for Alliance. Big numbers being put up on the cards. For E-Arena, low eliminations means a minimum.
Hello bhai, good evening. Good evening bhai, Sonu bhai, good evening.
Which is still a pretty good game, don't get me wrong. But
अबे वो चालू हो गया होगा ना, सोलो लेडपुल सोलो लेजेंड। रुक अबे खत्म भी हो गया? एक मैच का था क्या रे? अपकमिंग है हैं? अबे खत्म हो गया क्या?
Yes, of course. The Red Bull one is for you, the tropical one is for me, and we've got the Red Bull Solo Legends for everyone.
To face India's उम्मीद सब कर रहे हैं इस चीज
प्लान कर रखा है। देखो स्ट्रेटजी बस यही
अब ये कहाँ बैठा दिया इनको?
ऐसे तो कोई स्ट्रेटजी मतलब स्पेसिफिक नहीं बनाई।
गेम प्ले दिखाओ जी, ये टाइम पास हो रहा।
हम वैसा खेलेंगे और
अरे वॉच पार्टी करना है, नो गेम प्ले।
स्ट्रेटजी और जितना मैं जान चुका हूँ ये स्ट्रेटजी कभी रिवील होता नहीं। हम लोग चाहे जितना
will have the same metal उसी चीज की पूरी
टीडीएम चला रहे हैं
जाती है। थोड़ी देर में हमारे सामने ये टीडीएम शुरू होता नजर आएगा एंड हर एक प्लेयर
वाह रे वाह, टीडीएम
बढ़ चुके हैं। 5 मिनट के अंदर ही जो खेल है वो समाप्ति की तरफ, बट अमन उनको फिनिश किया है मीजो ने। और ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम पे जो इंपॉर्टेंट फिनिश है वो आया है। टीम रेड बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रांग, कुछ अलग करके जाना पड़ेगा टीम ब्लू को, लेकिन ये जंप शॉट आएगा। क्रॉन्टन उनका बढ़िया कवर, 31-36 का ये स्कोर लाइन। और अब ऐसा लग तो रहा है कि टीम रेड, जी हाँ बिल्कुल, और पूरे भारतवर्ष की जो नजरें हैं वो इस टूर्नामेंट के ऊपर रहने वाली हैं और वो भी चाहेंगे कि हाँ पूरी खुलेंगे। वो अंडर प्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी तैयार और
बहुत ही अच्छे एडब्ल्यू के अंदर
साला बेल्ट दिया,
वो बस केओस ही क्रिएट कर। और व्हीकल के अंदर चारों खिलाड़ी जो है वो सवार होकर के जो केओस है
भाई इनको सोफा में बैठा दिया
लेकर के आने की
उधर
ना, तो यहाँ कई दरवाजे बड़े हो ही गए होंगे हाथ गर्म। और
मैं उसी से कह रहा था, बट चलिए
एज अ टी तक का जो सफर है
रीमैच हो गया
अभी तक तय किए वाला है ड्रॉप करें और इसी तरीके
स्टार्ट होते ही रीमैच हो गया।
मीजो
दिक्कतें बढ़ा सकते हैं और जो मुश्किलें हैं वो लॉबी की थोड़ी और बढ़ाने की वो कोशिश करेंगे। मैं बात कर रहा हूँ कियोस एजेंट्स की जो 8 हमें यहाँ पर अभी देखने को मिल जाएंगे और ऐसे में शुरुआत हम करेंगे और देखेंगे कि जो पहला फिनिश कंफर्मेशन है वो कौन सी दिशा से आएगा।
It all comes down to the fact कि भाई वो सर्कल हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलने वाला है। Have to see and understand. जॉनथन थोड़ा सा ग्लाइड डाउन करते हुए थोड़ा लेट उतरना चाहते हैं क्योंकि उनको देखिए मैप पर नजर आ रहा है कि शायद आसपास और भी प्लेयर्स हैं जो कि ग्लाइड कर रहे हैं।
रीमैच है।
Oh indeed. With that circle, ruins के पास का ये एरिया होगा and I really like it. See, Water City is not Water City anymore.
जी हाँ,
Officially a boat yard now.
जी हाँ, अपडेट्स। बट अगर हम बात करें एम गॉड IGL की तो बगी उनको मिल चुकी है और रोटेशन नाम और हालांकि इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा बट क्वेश्चन अब आपको कहना
कि देखिए फास्ट सेंस की तो जस्ट अभी बात करी ही गई थी, उनका इंटरव्यू आया था एंड देन उसी के जस्ट बाद ये दिक्कत
himself. Here is a beautiful drawing. Brother, what's your name?
पार्थ
कितना टाइम लगा भाई ये बनाने में?
10 hours
10 hours. It took you 10 hours to make this. And
भाई लाइव क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? हो गया सोलो लेजेंड साला।
Hope for the circle to shift away from
Hello, Vishal, don't check bhai. Hello, how are you?
happened and they were just forced into that position and it just became an
Hello.
absolute neat grinder position that gave so many free eliminations over to Influence Rage, but I think also Alliance got a little bit versus Arena as we go through the replays of this game and we're going to see
साला ये वाला पुश मुझे समझ नहीं आया बट थोड़ा टाइम लेके हार्ड कंपाउंड पे ट्राई करना था।
was Regnum to like, how about we just work together? And we had a 12-player team on that position. It was crazy.
It was insane, right? I love that position so much. You can see here first, Weibo getting absolutely pummeled on both sides. And then Boar joining the conversation. Love the pivot that Flash made, actually. They were very, very quick to shift their attention from Tornado Sign to the back side of that area just to make sure Boars didn't do too much. Boars did get that win against them, but then immediately went out, and so then you had Akrit actually moving in, trying to do stuff. But WBG, that whole thing, just able to get them a full reset and then come back and do the business. It was really fun to see them,
I'm really happy actually with Alliance. I thought you passive Niptro. I was saying this entire game, they're not committing to a big play right now. They went for these crate positions right next to Influence Rage, and actually what they were hoping for is for the circle to not be giving a decent position over to DRX, and which has happened. So that forced DRX out of their compound, and because they leapfrog that position, boom, easy pickup for Alliance. So Alliance not only able to secure eliminations off the back of that, in this case 12 total eliminations, massive performance, but also able to secure a second place just barely ahead of DRX. So Alliance me quite a bit. Great position on the previous game on Rondo. This time around the timing was on point and they played it until the right moment of this match. Hot Jukes.
आरू भाई भी वॉच पार्टी कर रहे हैं। क्या ही लगाऊं, छोड़ो वही लगाता हूँ अपना।
Great decisions from all these teams. I'm definitely noticing.
कुछ खाने को लेके आता हूँ guys,
compared to Group Green, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here. Like
खाते
when
खाते
it comes
देखेंगे
to
मजा भी आएगा।
rotationally and fight timing, I feel like much more calculation from Group Red. I feel like Group Green would just be like, let's just gun out and take this team out with just our superior gun potential. But here, teams are very particular with their fights and shot placement. What do you think about that?
Group Green was like a little bit more demon mode, and now we're a bit more sophisticated. Niptro was just like, how about we work together in this position?
Yes.
You don't have to fight homies, and actually it's been really working out greatly for some of the top squad. I would have to agree.
It has for sure. One thing I do want to mention just really quickly though is Law actually, because he's MVP of the Erangel, the first Erangel. Really nice stuff coming in from him. But no, one team I want to mention just really quickly though, Jukes, and Max, is VP. A top team that was had so much potential, so because of how unpredictable they are rather, how aggressive they are. But I feel like right now they're not sure how to read the lobby. This particular lobby, this set of teams is proving very difficult for them on those rotations. They just keep getting blocked and interrupted in those rotations, so they're just not able to really find that position in circle. But yeah, they're going to be at the bottom of the leaderboards, but we want to look at the top right now because EA, Influence, and Alliance all up there, but the points are very close.
Yeah, they're close for now. That's only because we had 2 matches, but that's already a 15-point gap between 3rd and 4th place, Max, right? If we see, you know, these squads really run with another top finish in this game, it's going to be hard to catch them. That's what it comes down to, right? Whenever you get that good position, you got to put out a good game. And Influence Rage, they got blessed with that zone, but they put out some serious points, and that's how you get it done.
Now, you're saying hard to catch up, like, we still have we have 16 matches, guys. Okay, let's
which is
down.
True.
Fair enough, but like, you don't want to take it too late. But it scares me a bit for GRX because they barely missed out on the grand finals going into the gauntlet stage. So hopefully that's not going to repeat itself. They're looking at the bottom of the leaderboard. I really want to echo the point that was just made about Virtus Pro. So far, they are a very aggressive team, very aggro, willing to take any fight they see. But here, you just got to be a little bit more thoughtful of when you take your fights and how you take your fights and where you take your fights. And Virtus Pro, I think, might be a team that struggles because the lobby is playing very differently than what we had at the very start of this PMGC season.
I gotta agree. And it doesn't help, especially when you have a pretty good, solid position, and all of a sudden 3 of your players just get naded and you're out. Right, in game number 1. It's so difficult to bounce back from that mentality, Niptero, right?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I had totally forgotten about that, but that was a pretty nasty nade. I would knock the confidence of most teams, right? So I could see that maybe they just need a game or two to bounce back from that. But Virtus Pro, they're a team that have been there, done that. They're super experienced. I just hope in this next game we see a little bit more from them, maybe a little bit more adaptability. I just want to see them be able to pivot a little bit more. I will say I loved what they did. I forget who it was. Was it Akred near Pachinki there with that first initial knock on rotation? I love how instant VP were to just block Akred from doing anything else, and actually Voston just running him off and going out of here immediately. Get off my lawn, we're busy here, was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that from him. So they can do that. They can pivot really quickly. They just need to do that on a more macro scale.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about another engagement we saw this game, and I'm going to have to talk for the first time. We didn't talk about them too much, actually, this show so far for today. It's the side of True Rippers. They had a fight that they engaged versus, I believe it was onto Twisted Minds, onto the staircase, and they kind of all funneled themselves in a very small area on those staircases. I want to see some changes in terms of how you engage fights. True Rippers, for me, that was just never going to work out, not in 1,000 years. I want them to see for fighting the open, maybe try and secure off angles as you try and go for that initial engage, and then because if they do have off angles, Niptro, maybe 2 players south and 2 players on the staircases, I think they win that fight versus Twisted Minds pretty damn easily. But they all committed to such a small area that one spray just destroyed pretty much half the team instantly.
Yeah, that's often the case, isn't it? And I think especially in this lobby, we're seeing a lot of players, a lot of teams use those off angles. So it's definitely something you want to also use so you don't get left behind in terms of those fights, in terms of those CQC. So yeah, I really do agree that maybe just a little bit of a tweak there, just a little bit of a split is going to work wonders.
Well, let's hear from Law and the 7WG. Let's take it on over to the stage.
Welcome to a quick report with the 7WG. I'm joined by Do Brazil is in the house. Influence Rage. What a start to the day. A 2nd place finish and then a 1st place finish in just 2 matches. Law, what was the mindset coming into this Group Red?
Então, Law, qual foi o mindset que vocês tiveram, né, vindo para esse grupo vermelho?
Acredito que sempre vai ser o melhor possível, porque a gente sempre busca ficar em primeiro, entendeu? Independente de campeonato ou group stage. E depende dos outros times, a gente vai fazer o nosso e é isso. Vamos ver o que acontece.
So yeah, we always have like a very good mindset. We always try to get 1st place. So we are always like playing group stage with a lot of passion. So yeah, we are super happy for these 2 results.
And this year, you guys have added Federal. He hasn't been at PMGC since 2023, but he does have experience at this stage. What has that done for the squad?
Então, vocês agora com o Federal no time, né? Ele estava longe da PMGC desde 2023. O que ele traz para o time, né? A experiência?
Acredito que o Federal, ele tem individual dele é muito forte, poder de fogo dele, e também a tomada de decisão dele na partida. Ele é um jogador que consegue trazer muita segurança para a equipe, assim como o Lohan também, mas por uma escolha nossa agora, o Federal tá encaixando melhor.
So Federal is a really experienced player. He brings a lot of like confidence for us during the matches and on stage. And Lohan, he's very good as well. But right now we are with Federal and like it's super good. Like they're both really good players.
Well, 2 games in, this team is performing absolutely insane. We already have one Brazil team in the grand finals. Influence Rage trying to make it too.
Yes, they are. They're pulling out all the stops right here. It's good to hear that from Law as well. You know, yeah, and it happens. Sometimes you gotta, switch up the team a little bit. You bring Federal in, an OG in the PUBG Mobile esports scene, and it is definitely working out for them. That's for sure here, Max.
It's just a matter of time before we get back into the Federal era, Hot Jukes. Okay, this is a player that, when it comes to Brazil, the KIE or whatever, of course, Mafioso, even though he's benched recently for Alpha 7. But like Federal is usually very close to being named one of the best, if not the best player sometimes for that entire region. So yeah, I think that they found themselves. Influence Rage were looking really solid this game, despite still the circle favoring them a little bit, Niptura, but they made full use of that. And this gets me hyped for Influence Rage can bring to the table for not just this stage, but maybe the entirety of this PMGC season.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this next match in particular. Maybe we'll see. You know what I want to see? I want to see them have to work a little bit more. I want to see those big rotations come through and then see what they've got in store because they're looking really good so far, Jukes.
Yes, they are, but there's some teams that need to start stepping things up. Virtus Pro, I'm looking at you. We know that they like to land near that Lipovka mansion area. Maybe we get an Eastern Circle on this one. My question is, John, Blake, where do you want the circle to go?
एक सेकंड बॉयज कर रहा हूं मैं.
Well, I, for one, would love a circle that's right next to Everest over in the Gatka Fields. I think we haven't seen that one in a while. I think that's definitely where I want to go. No, to be real, though, I feel like a Yaz Fields finish. We're kind of overdue. We've seen a couple of field finishes. Maybe it'd be a bit cruel to have back-to-back ones, but certainly would be interesting. We haven't seen that one in a little bit of a while. That or maybe the top of the Lumberyard Hill down on the southeast.
Yeah, I think Yaz teams are pretty frustrated about that as well because we really haven't seen a single time where it's gone over there. Not saying that the Yaz teams can't do well off the back of it. We've seen Thundertalk been able to transition from the south side against Naya multiple times.
इंडिया में क्वालिफाई नहीं हो रहे हैं. तो बाहर जाना है, फ्लाइट में बैठना है.
Really seen a circle on that side of it. I personally do enjoy Yaz finishes. They are so unbelievably hectic. I imagine players are quite glad that those aren't coming through all that often, though.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of positivity for them. We'll have to see the plane path cutting out to the northeast side, though, so it does go straight over Yaz and the circle. It's going to pop up very, very shortly. Looking for any hot drops. We do go out to the east, so maybe we're off of that Lumberyard Hill. Keeps a little bit of the military island in, but I'm
thumbnail change कर रहा था boys.
Right, 100%.
We are back.
Can't happen.
Good go.
It could still happen. Be a bit of a difficult one to make work though. You do have troopers down in Milta, which is a good starting point for them, as well as nuclear zone over towards eastern side. Milta Power, 2 strong starts. But for Alliance again around farm, it's a strong position to get going from 3rd place. I mean, 29 points. It is very close to number 1 of E-Arena there with 35. Like I said, despite getting quite late in that last game, when it was a huge amount of points off the back of it, you can see here Alliance with the majority of the most limbs in the lobby. Sakura off that 1 game still leading with 11 total.
And that is, yeah, that's, I mean, there's no way that that's getting toppled. Maybe this match, if Alliance do well again, but I think that might stay, well, we'll see. We'll see how long, but for a game more at least. 35 points, 32 points, 29 points. That is a big drop off blankets. It's a double difference there. DRX times 2 doesn't even make the mark against Alliance. And they have really extended over into a top 3 there, which is something that we didn't see in previous groups, right? It was kind of APG and then very, very flat for a long while at the start of Group Green. So now in Group Red, maybe we'll be a little bit more definitive on our top three, but it's still very, very early days. I'm willing for I don't have to be willing, but I think things are going to change.
Rondo is the big thing, right? Where it changes so much the dynamic of a lot of our games, purely because we get the Rondo through, teams get a massive game off the back of it, and it makes the leaderboard look a bit weird. So I think for the rest of the day, at least until like match 4, match 5, it is just a lobby playing catch up to that Rondo match, which is what makes things look so odd in terms of our tables throughout the day. I think I prefer to see Rondo like towards the middle of the day, where it's looks a lot more even. It's easier to tell which teams are doing quite well. I think Rondo does create a little bit of a skew right at the beginning of things, but it's always fun to watch. I think it's a fun high octane game, and I think for players they're quite glad it's the first game of the day, because it's your first match, you're very warm, you can give it your absolute all and try and get the most amount possible off the back of it. And I think for Arena, obviously that was certainly the case.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Strike while the iron's hot, right? And see if you can get those results. Because of the inherent slight randomness that exists within PUBG Mobile, right? It is a question of converting on opportunity rather than being able to... I mean, everyone has it in their wheelhouse here, right? To have massive games, to get those 20 elim chicken dinners, it's a question of how frequently can you convert on the opportunity to do that really starts to distinguish champions. So for Arena, this is great news. And I think especially coming off their performance in the Gauntlet Blank, this is something that Arena will be thrilled to have had happen so early.
Silas getting taken down early by Glory here. For Regnum KIE, I don't think
अभी Mernox पाजी all the best new player lots of support next year आपको PMGC में देख रहा हूँ. बिल्कुल भाई. सार्थक सिंह भाई, thank you. Next year है PMGC अपना. मुझे को जाना पड़ेगा लग रहा है, इनसे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. ये देखो आर्क नाम की टीम कितनी बॉट है. हाँ चल रही है आर्क. अरे भाई आते हैं ना.
If you're a fan of them, you're like, we'll slow it down. But if they slow it down too much, then they're not getting enough points at all. If they aren't aggressive enough, if they're too aggressive, then they're suddenly losing players early. I think that they're yet to find that.
Bug करता है ये लोग कास्टर ना.
Honestly, right now.
Bug.
But you're in groups right now. Yes, you had the gauntlet, but you already had the gauntlet to try and find that balance, and that's something that should.
And RZ Arthur 95.
Next stage.
Okay.
I don't want to see Regnum KIE going through to last chance, but even if they do go for the last chance, if they don't make it through in last chance, it is a pretty big shake-up. All things considered, because you had 6 days to figure out the rhythm, and you still couldn't do it.
And they're the regional champions as well, right? If they aren't representing in the finals,
then Hydro push. Chal Hydro.
Pretty big disaster. You're right. It's not fun. It's not fun for them. Yeah, especially with Zedwolf's debut season with them, I think it's bad.
एक knock दिया.
And he's going for one. Oh, he's traded off for a second, and there's no backup really. Jelly can only sit there and watch.
पकड़ लिया भाई Hydro को.
He has to turn tail. The survivor. To drive the story back to the rest of them. Strike fear into
Itish Shiva. अरे भाई. बढ़िया player है. ETS है अच्छा. भाई M4 से दे रहा है. दे दिया. अरे यार. भाई पीछे वाला बंदा कैसे मार गया उसको यार. क्या बकचोदी है भाई. वो पीछे वाला बंदा मार गया. 2 बंदा इसका पीछे है. इतना तगड़ा मारा है वो. भाई नेड मार दे यार. रिवर ना लेट कर रहा है. रिवाइव ही हो जाएगा इतने में तो. What is Nederson? भाई लोग हक दिया रे ETS से. जितना बढ़िया मारा वो शिवा. मार के खोपड़ी खोल दिया सबका.
They found Baby. They have been made to look a bit foolish by the run around from Shiva.
शिवा को रिवाइव कर दे यार. फिर तोड़ देगा.
Just love
ना लेकिन बिना नॉक के अरे चूती अपने ही बंदे को नेड से डैमेज कर दिया और सीधा कितना गाली दे रहा होगा इनको ये चूती है लॉन्डो पाल रखा हूँ भाई मैं उठा दे यार उसको जाके बहुत गंदा खेला रे
And this fight has got multiple oversights on it, so it's difficult to make work. Circle over towards that north side around dip.
बोर का कुत्ता बना दिया था भाई शिवा खेल अगर पीछे से नहीं पड़ता ना कन्फर्म तीसरा बंदा भी घुस के मारता
North side yet to make their way in here. It is cramped down towards the south, John.
Absolutely, it's getting quite chock-a-block. Weibo Gaming on this north side, kind of on their lonesome towards the mansion area, towards those open fields. Going a little bit close to Milter, and we're still on maybe for that Lumberyard Hill finish that I talked about at the start. Meanwhile, Boars still tensely held against EGxMERNOX. It's not been a pretty fight down there. Let's hop over, though, to the middle of this circle, towards those shelter entrances now. Regnum KIE holding one of their own. They did lose a player earlier on as well, losing Silas, which is far from favourable, but he can backseat game like no other. The guy has got a big brain on him, so hopefully he'll be able to deliver that information back on over. Arcred on the north side. They sent their third-party tendrils out towards the fight we were looking at before between the Boars and EGxMERNOX. They are still holding
EGxMERNOX
central area.
EGxMERNOX
Managed to get that regroup going on that south side alliance, who are looking to convert on that big elimination game and looking to keep that points tally going. And it seems that they'll be safe for the time being. E-Arena late to the party on the west, though, and they are just passing school. They'll be pushing in, maybe towards Influence Rage, who are also on that north side. For now, the top three teams are kind of out of the thick of it. They can bide their time.
Yeah, I think that for Regnum KIE in particular, it's a frustrating one because this is a very typical position for Regnum KIE as well, John. Not having Silas here is frustrating, because you do want multiple sight lines available, especially when people start to crash over towards shelter too. Not having 4 players there does make your life pretty difficult. I think all 3 of those players, though, are capable of taking a 3v4. It's just you don't really want to have to take a 3v4 in the first place. Alliance, I like this spot. They are sending a player out wide up the hill, though, to try and scout out. I don't really want to let too many players get over towards the Wizard Tower and have an oversight down towards you. But right now should be okay. A little bit quieter. Again, I am really liking the rotations here in Group Red for a lot of our teams.
You're a big fan. You love it. You love it so much. And rightly so. I think that it is certainly interesting, especially early on in a new group, right? To watch those rotational dynamics, to see how teams start to feel each other's positions out and get a feel for just how their pace of their games need to go. We'll see if that continues, because we still do have, well, not quite 3 days, but the majority of our 3 days left.
थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है टीआर को ये गेम होवर होगा तब नहीं होगा ऊपर ही जाना था इसको तो वहाँ पे आईएनएफ साला सब कुछ स्टंट हाउस भी ले रखी है लिक्विड भी ले रखी है इसको आने नहीं देगी लगता है ये कभी अच्छा स्प्लिट है हार्डशिट मेंटेन करने के लिए उन्हीं में आगे हार्डशिट लेके डाल रहे हैं नहीं निकल रहे हैं
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to hold that. I think that Chudo makes the right decision there, though, on the squad, is that although that position would have been lovely, it was very greedy. It was very, very greedy. And I think he realizes that the team's not going to get there in time. I'd also much rather have a 4-man squad.
गलत काम कर रहा अरे डाल दिया आ गया टीम आ गया उसका
a nasty crash onto it. But the rest of the team is close behind.
ये देखिए अच्छा मारते हैं जीवुल पागल बंदा है भाई तगड़ा ही मार देता है कभी-कभी
They'll get that res and play on as 3. A nice hold there. A little bit haphazard on the approach, but as 2-man, it's kind of excusable. You just need to go for something sometimes. Burmese Ghouls with a scrap against GK, or rather, just Ichi with a scrap against GK. Still at a...
BG कहाँ की टीम भाई?
Burmese Ghouls, you don't want to be sticking around too long.
अरे ले
But Yatka doesn't have that position under lock, and KIE will be taken down with the side swipe. Will be immediately flushed as well. Ichi can't land the shots, but neither, it seems, for Burmese Ghouls. Over the top they go, and they are just not finding it. What's just happened there? As Geeke giving him a ride out of town, Ichi is knocked, but he's going to hop back in, try and reverse back on over, do more damage.
Ah, भाई क्या ये लोग मैंने पूरा कंफ्यूजन में मार दिया.
They've crunched all the vehicles apart, and Geeke spray it down.
पूरा कंफ्यूजन में पेल दिया भाई.
Either way, a comedy unfolding here for Geeke, getting 5 elims.
Yeah, it's just a messiest fight I've seen in a while. He's just ramming vehicles into the players. One player from Burmese Ghouls basically surfboarding on top of the hovercraft. It's not a hoverboard, just so we're all aware.
Like a real Marty McFly with that one.
Yeah, it's just weird. Just a weird fight.
I don't know if I think I enjoyed it, but I don't think I liked it, you know? I think it's one of those ones. It was fun, but very, very unprincipled. We'll see if they can pick things up, because both of those two teams now, the Burmese Ghouls having a real tough time of it. Nuclear Zone, they move up north towards Virtus Pro, and they have been spotted.
घंटा नॉक पड़ा है. यार हाँ चलो यार जोन तो पहुंच गए. फिर और ऊपर जाएगा, INF पे जाएगा ये. पूरा बोला था ना INF पे जाएगा.
No, it's going to go north. Hey, look who's there. It's Influence Rage.
That's kind of frustrating for a lot of teams.
भाई क्या पकड़ रखी है रे INF. अब रिग्रुप हो रही है, लेकिन अब तो छोड़ना चाहिए.
Nade over the top there to find some damage over towards Foston, who was the front man for the squad. Malloy now immediately has to recover this position. Very, very long. Doesn't get too much value off the back of it. Weibo playing a pretty good spot right now. I think teams are going to start to lock into this tomorrow, by the way, in terms of the rotations. I think there'll be a lot more central teams. Because a ton of areas, quite frequently, that are open to rotate.
आराम से मारना है यार लौंडे. टाइम लेके मार.
I will come towards the latter half of the day today, or be very much something that's considered tomorrow. Milky Way, that is a crazy play from you, but I guess you have to marshal the defensive here whilst the res goes off.
निकलना चाहिए लोगों तो यहाँ तक किसी का फायदा नहीं है.
Stop Nuclear Zone from getting too close. Arthur, a clenched fist right now. Oh, I wish I could have stopped him, but no. First Pro actually sending out into the blue zone. I dislike it. They're against the headland, and they know where Arthur's playing. The zone is available up on towards that east side for now. They can beat the crunch on that east edge, but where do you go from there? Because it's a direct transition in towards Influence Rage from this point.
INF से लेना चाहिए क्या? इनको ले लेना चाहिए INF से फाइट. नहीं नहीं नहीं ऊपर से पड़ेगा. दोनों को छाड़ दिया.
Some fantastic shots by Lil Boy and Diego.
बेट कितना तगड़ा किया ये फेडरल.
Yeah, that's very much off the back of some unbelievable shots from the rest of the squad.
Yeah. That was pretty
Twisted Minds पे अच्छा जगह है.
Was to flex out in third party. I don't think they realized that Virtus Pro had actually gotten as far north as they had.
Yeah.
So they were flexing out to try and take them down, right? So for Federal, for Law, they were trying to create that line, get a couple more elims on board. But a brilliant response, as you said, from Influence Rage. When Law came under fire, immediately Federal, Diego both snapped into action. So that's exactly what you want to see. Is the ability to correct your missteps.
तो वही बंदा जल्दी जल्दी फोड़ दे.
So for Virtus Pro, it looks like a weird play.
नहीं यार नॉक हो गया.
Right now is that they
NRG अच्छा है. स्प्लिट में NRG के ही बंदे.
So what they're hoping to do is to do the old, Evil Knievel stunt, where you go up the hill, you end up on the roof, and then they try and fight out as a 3. It's a pretty dangerous play. It's the one that has high value if it works out. It's massively risky, but it all goes to nothing, like you say, because I think Influence Rage is looking third party. So they spot it way earlier than they potentially should have done, because Law is doing some crazy maneuvers on the side. I think they're honestly
डाल दिया था. मारते मारते उसको ही मारते भाई. अरे हर्ष निकल के उसको मारना. बहुत बढ़िया. अरे रे 2 गिर गए यार. मार दिया इसको भी मार दिया.
not going to happen. They do
और मार दिया.
zone in the end, but they bite the dust for it. 3 elims found on the match, and on the southeast side they go down. Influence Rage finally don't get a zone shift right on top of them, which is going to be good news for Weibo, actually, and potentially for Regnum KIE here.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the 3 teams that I was looking at in this lobby in the first place were actually these 3 anyway, is Weibo, Regnum KIE, as well as Influence Rage. I think Influence Rage...
भाई लोग ओपन में खेल रहा है? अच्छा नहीं, डिप है. ऐसा ही क्रैश आया था हम पे GDR का BGIS में राउंड 4 में मर गए, बट हम मार नहीं पाए थे, बस फर्क यही था. जीवुल अकेले मारा है भाई. अरे मार दिया, अबे मार दिया ये एचपी में. अरे यार, अबे कौन दे दिया? अरे साला पागल.
With a real standout play there, but cannot stand up to the test of 3 teams crashing.
अबे पागल प्लेयर Zedwolf.
Right there. Incredibly well done from Zedwolf, though. That's why they picked him up, for those moments in particular. Insane moves. Kind of salvages the game a little bit for Regnum KIE too, with the 5 elims off the back of that.
Ooh, that is a little bit of a stopgap for them. The 5 elims, no placement points for them though. I mean, you're right, it will keep them up with pace, but they do still want more. It's good to see though that Zedwolf still has that glint in his eye, that little glimmer. DRX looking for it as well against Team Flash, but they are not going to be allowed in towards the museum, not this time around. Team Flash holding it out.
Get a knock. Nice. थोड़ा गंदा था ये पुश.
There's more to do, and Tops is on the ball. He's looking for the last players alive
खत्म.
now. I think it's just easy for bad
अरे
on the
भाई,
outside.
10 kill मार दिया उन्होंने.
A really solid hold coming through from Team Flash on the south edge flank. They're up to 10 elims, and we do have a new pretender to the podium.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, Flash had a extremely central spot very early on and have maintained it very well with the 10 elims, like you say. Weibo up to 6 now, so they're on the hunt towards the top side of the lobby. Twisted Minds. What is going on with this team right now? They are better than this. I know that they're better than this. But it's been...
चलो ऑफिशियल स्ट्रीम लैग हो रहा है. One love Mernox X7 के टाइम पर. रेड मिरर वेलकम.
And another team takes up the bunker. The vehicles stop piling up blank. Eventually, you're going to have an impenetrable wall here.
Oh, they sort of already have. It's really the scrapyard on that side of the map for Twisted Minds. But it's E-Arena again, as well as Influence Rage and Weibo. Constantly being towards these end games right now. I think Influence Rage and E-Arena has been a phenomenal day.
Weibo have been chiming in with the elims. 6 so far. E-Arena less so with 2. They were quiet in their last time around, and again, they didn't profit too much because of that. They're not getting stuck in this time either, but keeping up consistency, especially when you have those big games under the belt, is so important. They're still over that 10-point average already blank, not even including any of the matches that they, or any of the rest of the points that they get in this match. Influence Rage, they're a little bit louder with 4, but they were playing up in heaven and they got that VP spray down, which is where those points have come from. Team Flash, they'll get a streak out towards E-Arena though, and the south point on the 2-2. There's only 2 of them. Can they hold it?
And C2, line up over to
पंप है ये लोग से नहीं बच पाए. स्ट्रीम लैग क्यों हो रहा है ऑफिशियल? मतलब इनका लैग हो रहा है, मेरा लैग नहीं हो रहा.
A big job now for Sakura versus Bose. Can he hit the target?
It's a 1v1. And Lil Boy's chiming in as well. They've got Influence Rage with the flex outs towards it. Sakura is on his lonesome here. Bose, same story. Weibo have moved in blank. They've rolled straight up to this.
झाड़ दिया. 2 हेड मारा है ये.
Influence Rage can't control it. And they are
मार दे गाड़ी में बैठा है, मार दे.
Team Flash having a real
खत्म साकुरा ही मार दिया सबको
deal the final blow. A lot of points earned for Arena there though, Blank, and that is 6 on their tally. So despite only having one player alive, 4th place in a 6 Elam game, that's still going to be happy.
Good rap from Weibo, only sending 2 players as well. I think they heard and saw how disastrous that engagement went. Out comes the hovercraft though, and it's still going strong at this
कभी दौड़ा रहा साकुरा को
Sakura jumps in the buggy. He doesn't want anything to do with this.
Oh, they know where Sakura is. Federal, swap to that side seat. Go on, you know you want to. No, he's going to play it a little bit more sensibly. Play up to the ridgeline and look for control. They have given up that position on the northeast side. They're leaving just Lil Boy out there, but in the meantime, Twisted Minds kind of the only team in the middle. I mean, again, you just crash a couple more vehicles in there. It is a full compound, right? It's really nasty stuff though. Twisted Minds are going to survive because
भाई साकुरा तो गेम खेल खत्म है
high and dry right now. Diego trying to send around. Federal trying to hold off against Weibo in the meantime.
I mean, he's been very serious. Somehow remaining in it, but the tags there, that's pretty disastrous for him. Good shots from Lil Boy at distance as well.
क्या करता बेचारा अकेले कितना देर होल्ड कराएगा
Strolls in towards our top 3 with Twisted Minds in what seems to be a fortress, the center of the map.
फटा
Of scrap iron.
तो दिल में नेड है ये फट जाएगा
Just the one for the Nox on that. Law though will try and flush it out. He might just find Walsh in the meantime. That's going long. It's actually pretty difficult to land the nades into this one because of where the vehicles sit. There's a lot of cover and you can see it's not doing too much damage. They're all burnt out, sure, but their protection from that shrapnel, though they are getting forced. The nades are dropping a little bit shorter. Pop up. Oh, the bobble around. It just goes over the bonnet. It's surprising how difficult that spot is to nade, it seems.
Yeah, with you threading it in between the vehicles and any kind of LOS you can get on the nade is basically no damage. But Weibo, they're starting to move up right now, and you've got Federal on the off angle as well as Lil Boy. Diego and Law, the only 2 players that are close together, and Weibo's trying to find that position on the map where they can push the spear through the armor.
Hero flexing out, Lil Boy to match. Behind the rock, Hero actually corralling the man in now, and 2 players from WBG holding that flank down. The back line for Souk is completely under control. They've actually moved all 3 players up that north side, and now Orders streaking down the middle. With Twisted Minds out, they can start to establish on that bunker. They can play that same spot, but with off angles to complement it.
Why do we have the bow here, Souk? I know it's your specialty, but I don't really think there's any areas here where he needs it. I think he'd be better off with the shotgun right now. I think he's fantastic with it, but it's not like he has to hold down any angle with it right now. Maybe he can hit the vehicle potentially in the back, but I don't know. I'll wait and see. It is always exciting. Okay, it's his speciality. Thank you.
All right. You know what? If WBG win PMGC, we're starting a campaign to get a Souk skin for the bow. I reckon, for the explosive bow. That's what we want. Only if they win, though. Otherwise, we get no help from us. I'd love to see it. Influence Rage. Haven't been able to do too much damage to Weibo. We've been allowed to set themselves up quite nicely here. Diego hopping out. Down in the dirt. They're worried about the flank, and I think rightly so. If you get rid of Hero, then all of a sudden you can start to line up, but that's a really good opening pick for Tech3Z, stepping up forwards, getting that first
उतना चाहिए इसने तो भाई तो पूरा पेटी वेटी लूट लिया देख लिया उसको तो नॉक होगा लाड में
and more in the boxes away ball and none for Influence Rage. I didn't even look
दो नॉक खा गया
okay, yeah, this is done and dusted. Weibo win.
Yeah, it's been a great game from Weibo. It's been a great game, and I think that my favorite thing about this game is that Souk put the bow and arrow down. He put it down, which is something that he refused to do in previous international tournaments, even in these moments where it didn't make sense. I think he's the one player that can find an unbelievable amount of value of it, but I do think he needs to put it down sometimes, and that's great. It's good news. It's great news.
आखिरी बंदा
Yeah, Order's just like, I'm finishing this job.
बकरे की मौत कब तक खैर मनाएगी
With a million boxes and the burnt out wreckage of half the teams in the lobby, Weibo able
ये तो तैयारी कर दिया। साला कभी-कभी ये लोग को पेशेंस रखना चाहिए। मर गया लोग। एक नॉक फिनिश का ट्राई कर लेता भाई। एक पॉइंट और ले जाता। Chinese domination. Nice.
And this top section of the table is looking pretty happy. Weibo certainly more expressive on their victory there as well. Maybe some of the more happy we've seen teams going and the celebration.
वहाँ पर रहता है भाई लौंडा, ये चीज अच्छा लगता है।
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good game. To be honest, it was a really good game from them. Some very smart.
लाइव है।
शेविंग से जलन और परेशानी और नहीं, मेरे जिलेट मार्क 3 के 3 फेशियल अडैप्टिव ब्लेड्स दे इतना कंफर्टेबल शेव जो लगे हवा से भी हल्का। जिलेट मार्क 3, स्मूथेस्ट एंड मोस्ट कंफर्टेबल शेव।
मैच कुछ हुआ कि नहीं रे?
भी नहीं कर पाएंगे तो आपको उसके लिए तो एक स्क्वाड चाहिए होती है जो यहाँ पर मौजूद नहीं है। हालांकि नोवर अपने के आसपास स्टिल मल्टीपल प्लेयर्स हैं वो नजर आ रहे हैं।
No, this is not looking good for sure.
You know about the time when I said first time's the charm or second time's the charm?
Fourth time is not a charm for sure.
No, I think the charm is gone. But we'll have to see and understand कि सर्कल देखिए कितना प्यारा है। सर्कल देखिए आप।
गॉडेल जॉनथन को ही दिखा रहा है ये लोग, वही ऑफलाइन हो रहा है बार-बार।
लगता है कि तकनीकी डिफिकल्टीज जो हैं वो अभी भी बरकरार हैं।
बड़ा मस्त लगा तकनीकी डिफिकल्टीज। ये आप इंग्लिश को हिंदी कर रहे थे या हिंदी को?
आप ही ने कहा था इंग्लिश में करेंगे तो मैं काफी।
क्या है रे ये टूर्नामेंट, साला स्टार्ट ही नहीं हो रहा है। उधर जीसी का 3 मैच हो गया, ये टूर्नामेंट तब से स्टार्ट हो रहा है। लाइव सेट का है। एल प्रोडक्शन तो है भाई, स्टार्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? 16-16 क्यों स्पैम कर रहे हैं लोग? 16 और 18 ही क्या है? साला कोई 100 रुपए दे के टिकट लेके आया होगा, ये चूतिया जगह आ गया भाई मैं। जोनाथन जर्सी नंबर 16। अच्छा तो स्टोरी डाला भाई। अच्छा थोड़ी वॉचिंग आ रही है।
There, Nitro, he was not happy about that fight.
No, he wasn't.
अरे भाई तो मुस्लिम हो नहीं, हिंदू हूँ भाई मैं। उसकी गाड़ी नहीं देखी यार, ये तो कहीं नहीं। एक सेकंड गाइस।
अरे भाई क्या कर रहे हैं, ब्रेक डाउन।
देखो यहाँ पे राइट पे नीचे भी नहीं दिख रही है उसकी गाड़ी, है कहाँ पे? उसकी गाड़ी नहीं दिखी। उस वजह से मेरे को लगता है ये लोग थोड़ा वैसे हो गए, कंस्ट्रेंट हो गए एक जगह पे। नहीं तो अगर फ्लैश की जगह पे ये लोग पहले थे तो मैं भी थोड़ा और अंदर तक स्काउट कर पाते, क्योंकि फेलियर भाई ऐसी की तैसी भाई, फियर ऑफ फेलियर की। ना जीतने के लिए खेलना है ना कुछ और चीज़ के लिए खेलना है भाई, हमको वी हैव टू प्ले, सिंपल चीज़ है। क्योंकि भाई कुछ भी अगर हम लोग सोचेंगे ना अपने रिजल्ट का, तो अननेसेसरी प्रेशर हम लोग खुद के लिए भी और अपनी टीम के लिए भी इन्वेंट कर देंगे, समझ रहे हो? जो प्रेशर है भी नहीं ना, फालतू का प्रेशर हम लोग ले लेंगे ना, हम लोग जैसा खेलते हैं वैसा नहीं खेल पाएंगे। बहुत सिंपल चीज़ है। तो मतलब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ थी। एंड मतलब ये सारी चीज़ें ही यार, जब अपनी TSM भी गई थी ठीक है बाहर, जॉनथन ने जब इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया था, तो आई एम श्योर कि भाई इन लोगों ने ये तो नहीं सोचा होगा कि हमको क्या करना है बहुत ज़्यादा, समझ रहे हो? उन लोग ने अपने गेम पे फोकस किया, सिंपल उनका जो एग्रेसिव गेम था उन लोगों ने वो दिखाया, जॉनथन ने अपने गेम पे फोकस किया था। एंड यही सारी चीज़ें मतलब एट द एंड परफॉर्मेंस लाती हैं, क्योंकि गेम के बाहर की चीज़ें सोचना या गेम के बारे के रिजल्ट्स के बारे में सोचना एक चीज़, और हाँ गाइस, जो भगवत गीता का वो लाइन है ना, वो कि कर्म किए जा फल की इच्छा छोड़ दे, वो वाली, तो भाई वो चीज़ मैं समझाऊँ भाई, ये वाले टूर्नामेंट से तो बहुत अच्छे से समझाऊँ। और मतलब ये मेरे पूरे करियर एंड पूरी लाइफ में बहुत काम आने वाला है, बहुत ज़्यादा। एंड आप लोग के लिए भी गाइस मेरी सबसे बड़ी लर्निंग यही है कि भाई एक्शंस पे फोकस करो, एक्शंस आर एवरीथिंग। तुम कर्म करो पार्थ, बिल्कुल भाई, कर्म करो फल की।
अच्छा ओके, कर दिया लाइक वाइक कमेंट।
Sook just holding down their position, holding down the fort, and letting the rest of his team do their job. So really love that. With that performance, they're into the top 3. Not by much, sure, but they put themselves into that conversation, Max.
They were in 5th position before this one, now jumping up into the top 3 position. 35 points for them, really happy to see it. E-Arena, Influence Rage still going to be holding on to that 1st and 2nd place respectively, so they're going to be happy-chappy about that one. The bottom of the leaderboards, no, a lot of downwards arrows here, Hodrix. Unfortunately for them, it seems like they are definitely not building any kind of momentum so far, so there's still a lot of time, of course. It's only 3 games in, but when you only have 3 days worth of action, you don't want to stay down there for too long.
That's for sure. Well, let's take it on over to a quick break, guys. We'll be right back in just a minute.
ये क्यों नहीं चालू हो रहा? जॉनी को भूख लगी है, चिकन खाना है।
Нэр хүүхдээ санаж байна.
Миний дэлхийн авраг болоод хүрээдэг гэж заа юу?
Байна.
Ano?
За юу вэ нэ?
Эндо зэсэгэсэдин.
За
юу юм?
лигээс финал хайрхийг авсан.
Тийм үү? Яс монтэй.
Авраг авч идэх явдаа.
Яс монтэй. Баяр хүргэе.
कितना मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है भाई.
Тэгээ 3 удаа яг ногоон бүрэлдэхүүн орсон.
Дараагийн тэмцээний хизээ яриа.
Финал нь 12-наас 14-ний хооронд. Нэр хүүхдээ санаж байна.
Миний дэлхийн авраг болоод хүрээдэг гэж заа юу?
Энд даач.
Ихтэй шүү заа.
За хайртай шүү.
क्या क्या डाल रहा है पबजी मोबाइल क्यों?
अरे भाई आदमी है बे टॉप. दिल वाला इमोजी कहाँ है रे? आदमी है ना.
Ben de seni özledim vallahi.
Sen वही चल रहा है.
Uyumuşum bir de uyuyakalmışım. Öyle işte. Tamam. Ben de seni seviyorum öptüm hadi.
Hadi arkadaşlarına çok çok selam söyle.
Aleykümselam.
Canın sağlığı. Bunları da tebrik ettiğimi söyle. İlet hepsine tek tek.
Tamam aleykümselam. Onların da selamı var sana.
Tamam aleykümselam anneciğim hadi görüşürüz.
Hadi görüşürüz öptüm bay bay.
ऐसा तो पहली बार देख रहे हैं.
Welcome back to the halfway mark of day one of Group Red. I got Hughes from Team Flash with me. It is your first time at PMGC. How are you dealing with the pressure of playing at the biggest event of the year?
Chào Just Hiếu. Thì đây là lần đầu tiên mà đội hình hiện tại của các bạn thi đấu tại giải PMGC, tức là sự kiện lớn nhất trong năm đúng không nào? Vậy thì không biết là các bạn xử lý cái áp lực thi đấu như thế nào?
Đây cũng là lần đầu tiên mà team bọn mình tham gia BMGC, cho nên là tụi mình giải tỏa những cái áp lực đó bằng cách là không đặt thành tích nó quá cao, mình sẽ chinh chiến hết mình rồi.
Yes, this is our first time playing at PMGC, and we try to release our stress by not putting so much pressure on the achievement we need to get. We just have to play at our best.
Okay, well, I mean, the day started off quite well in regards to
भाई
eliminations.
मेंटालिटी अडेप्ट करना ना बहुत हार्ड है. रिजल्ट के बारे में ना सोचना, ये बहुत ज्यादा हार्ड चीज है अडेप्ट करना. जो अडेप्ट कर लिया ना भाई वो बहुत आगे जाता है. ये लोग कर चुके हैं, ये लोग बचपन से ही सिखाया गया है.
Thì sau 3
और
trận
इंडिया में
đấu
वो
đầu tiên
चीज
của
कम ही
ngày thi
है.
đấu hôm nay thì các bạn
बचपन
có
से ही साला रिजल्ट
thành
पे
tích
ज्यादा
rất là
फोकस
tốt,
है.
trung bình là 5 điểm mỗi trận. Tuy nhiên là mình chưa vào được cái top 3. Vậy thì không biết là điều gì đã khiến các bạn dừng chân trước khi vào top 3 mỗi trận như vậy?
Mình nghĩ đó chính là điều bọn mình thiếu kinh nghiệm, cho nên là
माइंडसेट स्ट्रांग करना है भाई. रिजल्ट के बारे में नहीं सोचना रिजल्ट के बारे में. आरू भाई ने भी सेम चीज बोला, रिजल्ट के बारे में नहीं सोचना. बहुत
I
मुश्किल है
think the
वो
reason
चीज.
is because we lack experience. That's why we couldn't compete against more experienced or more veteran players, and that's why we stopped before getting into the top 3.
Okay, well, I appreciate the honesty out of that one. And talking about experience, you kind of don't really have to have any rivalries at this stage. But is there any of these teams that maybe is making your day a little bit more difficult after 3 games?
Vậy thì trong cái khuôn khổ thi đấu ngày hôm nay, không biết là có đội nào khiến cho các bạn cảm thấy là mình gặp nhiều khó khăn hơn trong quá trình thi đấu hay không?
Chắc là chỉ có 3 trận thi đấu vừa qua nó cũng là ngắn.
इतना सारा लैंग्वेज बना दिया अभी इंसान.
Mình chưa tìm ra những đối thủ nào mà làm khó khăn.
हर लैंग्वेज में तुम बात कर सकता है.
Probably
Multiple
the
language.
first 3 matches are not long enough for us to notice any rivals that caused difficulties for us.
Okay, well, hey, that's fair. As I mentioned, it is just 3 games, and you are currently building up that confidence at your first PMGC. I can't wait to see if you guys are going to continue with this kind of performance, because the next 3 matches are coming your way.
प्लेयर्स लंच एक डिनर वगैरह कर रहे होंगे स्नैक्स का टाइम
Well, that's how you get it done against the top teams in the lobby. You love to hear that there from Flash. First PMGC, they're playing against the best, and they're playing on the best device as well with the Infinix GT30 series, the official gaming phone of PMGC 2025. Engineered.
यहाँ पर अमन
चलो गाइस चलो क्या
किट्स हैं तो एडमिनो या अमन
अरे भाई
what's gonna happen a classic battle in where we see soldier fighting the godlikes एक दूसरे को स्पॉट किया needs to save जितना हो सके and once again एडमिनो is a pro player अमन वो chaos agent के लिस्ट में
अरे इजी पीसी मर गया
वहीं दूसरी तरफ इजी पीसी की बात करें तो निंजा बॉय उन्होंने उनका जो फिनिश है वो निकाला है एडमिनो चलिए वो पीक ज्यादा दिया है अमन ने और अब वो अपने आप को रीपोजिशन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और मेड किट एक बार फिर से एक्शन में हमें देखने को मिल जाएगी पर वो लेवल 2 का हेलमेट आप देखिए कि
साला
ज्यादा डैमेज हो चुका है लेवल 2 का वेस्ट वो भी बहुत ज्यादा डैमेज पर वो जो टैप शॉट थे वो काफी ज्यादा प्रिसाइज गए फाइनली
ऑलराइट रेडन को यहाँ पर हम देख पा रहे हैं वो भी मूव करते हुए अपने आप को एक डिसेंट सी जगह लेकर के आने के लिए मॉन्स्टर का एक डिसेंट कवर बनाएगा बट एज
मेरा फेवरेट प्लेयर तो मर गया इजी पीसी
वो कवर आपके साथ पूरे तरीके
अरे इजी पीसी मर गया रे
मारे तो वो शॉट्स आपके ऊपर आएंगे ऐसे में मुश्किलें बनेंगी बट देन देयर वाज स्लग निंजा बॉय भी टेक डाउन हो चुके हैं एस पावर का खात्मा स्लग ने किया और अभी भी ये बैटल्स चलती हुई 56 प्लेयर्स स्टिल सर्वाइव सारंग अपनी लूट अभी के लिए और ज्यादा बढ़ाते हुए उनके एग्जैक्टली आसपास तो कोई खिलाड़ी है नहीं हाँ अगर किसी ने दूर दराज से अगर स्पॉट किया तो इंस्टेंट टेक डाउन करेंगे
जी हाँ वीकर यहाँ पर उनके पास जरूर मौजूद रहेगी और सामने से भी हम देख रहे हैं खिलाड़ी हैं और वो सोमराज हैं जो वीकर लेकर के अपनी रोटेशंस को एग्जीक्यूट करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं
आग लगा दी आग अरे भाई
सर्कल के अंदर
आप वो देखे क्या टॉप का इंटरव्यू देखा किसी ने
कि अगर
अपनी वाइफ और बेटी से बात कर रहा था
वो क्राफ्ट हमें देखने को मिल
क्या प्यारा इंटरव्यू था
It was about a 98 point cutoff to be in the bottom 5, right? Which just if you
when you have the perfect response in your head but your fingers just can't keep up. We've all been there. Typing,
जो शायद 2 डिफरेंट एंगल से आपको फिनिश करने की कोशिश करें ऐसे में ये भी एक बढ़िया स्ट्रैटेजी हो सकती है बट सारंग उन्होंने कुछ शॉट दिए कनेक्शंस आए बट वो फिनिश कंफर्मेशन आया नहीं शैडो उनका जो समापन है बट सारंग को बहुत ज्यादा ओपन एरियाज में थे कुछ शॉट्स उनके ऊपर भी
सारंग बाबू 4 प्लेयरों का मोड नहीं है सोलो है लादर
उनके ऊपर शॉट्स आ गए उनको खुद को सेफ रखना पड़ेगा नियो इट्स टेकन डाउन अपने लिए
सोलो में बकचोदी ना है
इनके पास उसका इस्तेमाल एंड सारंग नोस की कहीं से तो इनके साथ मस्करी हुई है खुद को वापस से सेफ रखने की कोशिश इन्हें ये भी पता है कि इनकी चलाई हुई गोलियां भी इनवाइट करती हैं आसपास किसी ना किसी
गेमिंग को तो एचपी नहीं है
तरफ
हट गया
के बॉय की तरफ से ये जाते हुए विली की एचपी बहुत ज्यादा कम है डज नॉट हैव एनी फर्स्ट हिट्स यस ही डज बट उनको समय नहीं मिल पा रहा था एरिया नहीं मिल पा रहा था लगाने का क्योंकि फर्स्ट जोन के बाद सेकंड आया है मौका रहेगा मिड किट लगा करके अपनी एचपी पूरी करने का बट क्या वो यूके बॉय को टेक डाउन कर पाएंगे
सवाल बढ़िया यूके बॉय की बात करें तो उनके पास शायद लूट की कमी इट माइट भी हो क्योंकि उनकी अभी भी जो एचपी
यूके बॉय
नजर आई नहीं है बूस्टर की भी अवेलेबिलिटीज रहेगी विली गेमिंग अब यहाँ से शायद वो फाइट लेने की जो कोशिश है वो करे हालांकि 2000 मीटर से भी ज्यादा जो फासला है वो उनको तय करना है
ऋषभ क्या कर रहे हैं
अंतर्यामी बिल्कुल क्लासिक गेम प्ले एक जगह बस उन्होंने अपनी बना ली है बिल्कुल एज पे वो कंपाउंड है वो भी जाता नहीं है वैसा वो कंपाउंड और वहीं पर बस वो बैठे हुए और अच्छी खबर ये है कि सिर्फ 9 ही मीटर का फासला है उनका और सर्कल के बीच में
लेकिन आप यहाँ पर देखिए विली कोशिश उनकी अभी भी जारी है एंड वहां सारंग को भी टेक डाउन किया जा चुका है देयर आर स्टिल अ लॉट ऑफ प्लेयर्स जो कि अभी ब्लू जोन का डैमेज लेते नजर आ रहे हैं और लाजमी भी है आप एज अ टीम एज अ यूनिट तो नहीं जाने वाले हैं एज एन इंडिविजुअल जाने वाले हैं तो आपको थोड़ा H2H खेलना पड़ सकता है और बहुत से ऐसे खिलाड़ी जिन्होंने सेंट्रल अप्रोच ले ली है ऐसे में बहुत डिफरेंट माइंडसेट्स बहुत डिफरेंट मेंटालिटीज देखने को मिल रही हैं सोमराज उनके सामने पंपकिन क्रॉन्टन
जोन से मर गए।
जोन ने अपना शिकार बनाया, तो इस केओस एजेंट के पॉइंट तो किसी के हिस्से में नहीं गए।
जी हाँ, वॉल ट्रिक उनको भी समाप्त किया गया। सोमराज, उनका जो लेवल 1 का हेलमेट है वो काफी तरह डैमेज है, और एडमिनो उन्होंने मीजो को इस मुकाबले से बाहर निकाला है और उनके पास भी फिनिश कंफर्मेशन गया। दूसरी तरफ आईएनसी वाइपर, और वो मान्या के काफी करीब से रोटेशन देते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। आगे आर्यन मौजूद है, पर वाइपर अभी इनिशियली फाइट लेने के वो बिल्कुल भी मूड में नजर आ नहीं रहे हैं, और वो शायद थोड़ा सेंट्रल एरिया जो एक्वायर करने की यहाँ से कोशिश करें। लूट उनके पास काफी डिसेंट है, फाइट अगर वो लेना चाहें तो ले सकते हैं। हालांकि जो ऊजी है उसमें एमुनेशन की कमी थोड़ी देखने को मिलती है।
36/0 बिल्कुल वो
trying to avoid last chance. I mean, with everything I got at this point, because
Yes.
let's pretend we're right here, Neptura. All right, let's pretend this is last chance, okay? You got EA, who have the craziest rondo of all tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like that point lead in that one game, I'm like, oh, that could be one spot cooked, just like that. And then you got Influence Rage, you know, finishing in the top for the first 3 matches. They already have 43 points. You know, so if this was just today and tomorrow, it could be done and dusted just like that, especially if these two teams keep to performing today.
Right.
साथ तो
it's
चाहिए
an
भाई इधर।
insane storyline to
इस स्टेज
think
पे तो चाहिए।
that the tournament could be over in one game, right? If EA or a similar team do the exact same performance on Rondo, first day of
Mentally
last
tough
chance,
बनना
get all
पड़ता है
those
साले
points,
इसे।
it's like, oh, there's just one position
Yeah.
now. And then Influence Rage, they come in very, very consistent. Oh, that's done. We're done now, guys. Everybody go home, because it's been done in the first 3 games. I mean, any sort of repeat of today going into last chance is going to be so destructive for the rest of the teams, because that confidence just gets shot completely, because it just starts getting run away with, because you only have 12 games, and 2 days sounds like a lot, but when you look at 12 games, it's really not.
Well, Max,
actually, talking about confidence. Oh yeah,
go ahead. Okay, I'll go. I was saying, imagine being Virtus Pro in last chance right now. You know what I'm saying? Because these past 3 games, oh my gosh, they just cannot catch a break. And even with such a storied squad like VP, right? You get unlucky 3 games, and that could be it.
It could be. It's really weird too, and we said it a little bit earlier today. Virtus Pro do seem kind of out of their depth. This doesn't feel like a lobby they just naturally will perform well into, because it's a way more passive lobby. I think if they were in group green, Niptura, there would be a lot more in their element. Like, okay, everyone's fragging out. It's a way more aggro-focused lobby. We're doing great. But no, here, they're having a bad time adapting to how this lobby is responding to circles and situations in these maps. So Virtus Pro, they've got to adapt quickly, because if they don't, I think that they might be unfortunately in the bottom 5, which I never thought I would ever say, but right now it's just not looking great.
I think you bring up a really, really good point, is that if they had been in Group Green, they would have done far, far better than, at least for now, they're doing, right? And I think it's because Group Red is hyper-focused on every angle, right? They are looking, because they're not focused on that aggressive play, on those fights, that really what we're seeing here is every team just making sure their position is locked down, whereas Group Green are so aggressive, so ready to push and ready to fight, that I think Virtus Pro were able to just sneak in between enemy lines and get a really, really good position, and that's what fueled their unpredictability, where here, they're just not being given that opening to actually make some surprising plays.
And you know what that gets me hyped for, Niptura, Hodrix, is the last chance stage. Like, you've got these 2 lobbies which clearly play quite drastically different in their approach to the game sense. And you're going to go into last chance where every team is so desperate, and one lobby that was clearly more oriented and one was more macro oriented and getting in positions a little bit ahead of other squads. The last chance generally is getting me so excited with how different some of these teams and groups are currently playing. So last chance, man, it's going to be intense, and also teams will have to adapt on a dime, because otherwise, again, you're not in top 2 in that stage, you're going to have a bad time. So you want to be in top 3 right now, because Hodrix, otherwise, I think that adaptation in last chance is going to be so rough to execute that all the teams are just going to struggle to get even remotely close to the top of the rankings.
I think that's a great shout, man, because honestly, I guess to do a comparison, to me, Group Green was like an arm wrestling match, right? The stronger guy just made it happen, you know? And then we're in Group Red, and it's like a chess match. It's like totally different, right? The way you see Weibo just calculated, making the perfect moves, teams being much more careful on their rotations, not moving until the perfect second. So yeah, when you have both those...
उस हिसाब से अगर बात करी जाए But we'll have to see and understand कि actually ये मुश्किलें किस प्रकार से ये players अपने ऊपर ले पाएंगे. Uzi इस समय टॉबी के पास, and we'll have to try and use the other weapon as well. Level 2 vest, level 1 helmet. दिक्कत की इतनी बात नहीं. तो किस हिसाब से इनफैक्ट उनके द्वारा ये गेम खेला जाएगा, मुश्किलें स्टिल बनने वाली हैं इन सब प्लेयर्स के लिए. So we'll see what happens.
जी हाँ, वयमन की अगर हम बात करें लेवल 2 के हेलमेट वो हमें काफी ज्यादा डैमेज देखने को मिल रहा है. माननीय मान्या महोदय 43 तक तो पहुंचे, बट चलिए मैं इनकी बात कर ही रहा था कि एडमिनो उनका जो समापन है वो हमें इस मुकाबले में देखने को मिल जाएगा. मान्या लूट उनके पास हमें बढ़िया देखने को मिल रही है, कुछ कमी अभी के लिए है नहीं. और ये भी जो एज का एक कंपाउंड है वो पकड़ के अभी के लिए वहीं पर मौजूद है. वही नूब की बात करें 268 मीटर्स का फासला जो उनको तय करना है, पर बेसिक जो बाय द बुक स्ट्रैटेजी है वो बढ़िया. एक व्हीकल उनके पास मौजूद रहेगा और स्मोक का भी बढ़िया इस्तेमाल.
सेफ स्पॉट किया जरूर, ये ज्यादा मौका भी नहीं मिला. स्लग आराम से सीट बदली एंड ही वाज लाइक छोड़ो क्या ही बात करनी. सोमराज गेट्स टेकन डाउन एज वेल. आदित्य उन्होंने डॉबी को टेक डाउन किया. वंस अगेन आपको याद दिला दे कियोस एजेंट्स को अगर आप एलिमिनेट कर रहे हैं देन यू विल गेट गुड पॉइंट्स. गॉडजी टेकिंग डाउन वन मोर इंडिविजुअल एंड नूब की तरफ
गॉड का वो लाइनअप ही बुला लिया उन्होंने. कौन नहीं है? जोनाथन है, गॉडजी है, मान्या है, एडमिनो है.
कोशिश में अभी भी वो पूरे तरीके से तैयार तैनात. और
कौन था गॉडल में?
38 खिलाड़ी बचे हैं.
सब तो आ गया. हाँ
जस्ट द गेम नंबर 1. 38 प्लेयर्स स्टिल सर्वाइविंग एंड सर्कल थोड़ा ओपन है. अब ऐसे में एक घर में तो एक ही खिलाड़ी रहेगा. अगर स्क्वाड होती तब हम बात कर सकते थे मल्टीपल प्लेयर्स रहेंगे, बट एक घर में एक खिलाड़ी, बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स हैं जो कि ओपन एरियाज में रहने वाले हैं.
अंतर्यामी अभी भी वो सर्कल के बाहर हमें देखने को मिल रहे हैं, बट अच्छी बात है कि व्हीकल उनके पास मौजूद रहेगा.
بالتأكيد يعني احنا أبطال بمثل العربي. المينا ريجن من أفضل الريجنات في العالم.
Chúng tôi khá là tự tin ạ, tại vì chúng tôi là đương kim vô địch C nên chúng tôi không sợ. Chúng tôi đã đạt được 4 top 1 trong một ngày, thì chúng tôi đến đây mục tiêu phá kỷ lục. Chúng tôi sẽ cố gắng sẽ được 6 top 1 trong một ngày.
I think we will qualify straight to the final.
إذا أنت بطل بمثل ممكن تكون محظوظ بجيم جيمين، أما إنك تكون محظوظ إنك تفوز بطولة هذا الشيء مستحيل.
Bgmi tại vì họ là một đội mới nên họ sẽ có những tâm lý khá là bất thường.
Büyük ihtimal Wolves derdim.
I think probably Virtus Pro just looks like that.
Не знаю, блядь, сказать, что они удачи нормально сыграли, там нет.
एक दूसरे के ऊपर बहुत रिस्पेक्ट है भाई, लोग को बहुत ज्यादा रिस्पेक्ट है. कभी भी ट्रैश टॉक नहीं करते हैं ज्यादा इस गेम में. तो बाकी बहुत सारे गेम में तो होता है ट्रैश टॉक सीरियस वगैरह में. इसमें तो ट्रैश टॉक बिल्कुल नहीं है.
Đội VP ạ, tại vì bên khu vực đấy khá là căng thẳng và họ chứng minh bản thân mình từ những ngày đầu tiên.
İyiler, kötü değiller ama heyecanlı oynuyorlar.
Я считаю, что из всех победителей PMSL мы являемся самой сильной командой.
बेचारा भी रोटेशन हमारा टीम में.
EGx zaten bu PUBG Mobile oynadığımdan beri hiç sevmiyorum oyun tarzlarını. Kendilerini seviyorum ama oyun tarzlarını hiç sevmiyorum. Yani
तो मोटा हो गया रे स्टाइल साले. ठीक है भाई, मोटा रहे या पतला रहे ट्रॉफी आनी चाहिए.
biraz daha vurmak kolay diyebilirim. Main fight hariç.
मैं भी एडिट आने ही वाला.
Any PMSL champion teams are stronger than us.
Я думаю, для нашей команды будет легче всего зарабатывать только на плюсах с Америкой.
ممكن أقول لرؤوف طور لعبك لأنه حبي إحنا جايين ندمرك.
Em muốn gửi một lời nhắc đến đội đương kim vô địch BMSL Milan là cách chơi của họ có thể là khá là ổn.
मीना कौन सा रीजन है रे ये? मीना
Yes, I think.
नहीं, रीजन ऐड तो हुआ है मीना, तो पता है मुझे, लेकिन कौन सा रीजन?
But I think this is benefits us. It's in our advantage because the teams don't know how we're really going to play.
साउथ एशिया है, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया है, यूरोप है, अमेरिकाज है.
Tekanan tu memang ada. Bila bawa nama Malaysia, saya bukan main untuk diri sendiri je. Saya main untuk komuniti, untuk fans dan orang yang percaya pada kami.
क्या कर रहा है? ट्रेनिंग कर रहा है रे. मार के तोड़ देगा लॉबी. मैच स्ट्रीम लग गया. यही चलाते हैं भाई थोड़ा देर में स्टार्ट।
آخر سنة ما راحت بالطريقة اللي ردناها، حاولنا وتعبنا بس بالأخير ما حصلنا النتيجة اللي ردناها.
My first PMGC taught me a lot about myself, the pressure, the nerve, the mistake you can make only on war stage. Now I'm here with a new roster, but my goal is still the same, to perform the way I know I can, to play with clarity, confidence and discipline.
A gente está aqui para jogar e ser feliz e buscar o topo. Sim, a gente está ainda mais confiante. Eu acredito que a PMGC vai ser a melhor de todos os tempos da Influence Age.
Influence Rage.
أنا واثق من نفسي هواي، واثق من تيمي هواي أيضا، ومتأمل ناخذ توب 1.
Perjalanan PMGC kita orang pada tahun 2024 boleh dikatakan sangat teruk. Kami langsung tak berjaya untuk lepas ke next stage. Tapi 2025 akan berbeza. Saya tak akan biarkan kesilapan yang sama berlaku dua kali.
It's not my fault, but I'll always come back.
Don't get it twisted. Our talent was never the problem.
Bom, este ano voltamos com mais fome, mais disciplina e com a mentalidade bem mais clara. Acredito que este é o nosso momento.
Saya tak nak orang lain ingat tim Malaysia ni datang untuk bercuti je. Tapi saya nak diorang tahu yang kita orang boleh bagi saingan terbaik untuk tim-tim global.
All right, let's keep things rolling. We are going to be heading on into the next match and hopefully getting things underway nice and quickly. Apologies for the slight delay, but we are going to be jetting on in, making sure everyone is fighting fit as a fiddle to be carrying on with proceedings. Blank, it's been an interesting day. I mean, the desk was talking about how it feels a little bit more like chess rotations than the boxing matches back in Group Red.
Rock.
Other rotations than the boxing matches that we about how it feels a little blank. It's
ये क्या है ओए? Stream sniper.
It's been an interesting day. I mean, the desk was talking.
भाई ये लैपटॉप क्या कर रहा है?
Carrying on with proceedings. Blank.
What is this? अलाउड नहीं है भाई, ये तो इंडिया में कोई भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक आइटम तेरे टेबल पर अलाउड नहीं है। वाह, तो फोन भी दे रहे थे।
Enough here. Yeah, it's that is interesting. That is interesting to bring up, right? Because we've seen, I think E-Arena is kind of the example of this, right? Obviously, kind of, you know, that's an exception. Maybe we don't talk about that much, but throughout the rest of it, generally very, very passive, right? Surviving quite a long time though, to be fair. And might well be enough if you're able to cast out.
टीम के कॉम्स क्या रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो? ऐसा कुछ
can work out, get you up into a top 3 position. We are going to be heading into another Erangel though, Blank, as we head on into the skies for one more time. We'll probably be seeing this one again after... No, this is the last one today. Yes, we are on match 4. We'll be seeing the Miramars after this one, so we'll have to wait till tomorrow to see more after this one. So make the most of it whilst it's here. Again, quite a hard cut south on the plane path.
Okay. Pretty tough playing path on this one. Obviously, Nuclear Zone's going to be quite happy being able to drop towards Mill to Power easily off the back of this one. Yeah, it's very southern leaning. It's actually one of the hardest playing paths to play over on Erangel. The fact that it cuts down south of the water as well. So difficult to get towards the north side of the map. And a lot of times, you know, you do have a lot of players dropping over towards the east, but the majority of that split is on that western side from Primos all the way up to even like a Zaki split, just the eastern side of shooting range. So I think that this is harder in general because the area of the map where you usually have the most amount of players being able to move across is on that western side, and here you're forced to cram everyone towards the east. There's definitely going to be teams dropping on top of one another, as you can see here, Weibo taking down one player from VP. Now, Maxman was talking in particular that VP just wasn't looking like a squad right now who could take over the lobby, which is what they enjoy doing, and I'd agree with that. I think they're a team that likes to bully, and here there isn't a lot of teams to bully, honestly. There's not a lot of teams to shove out your way and take a central position.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher of an opponent than maybe they're used to. And we'll see if they can adapt to it, because right now they are dead last. They got 1 point a match. We'll see where they're going to be able to earn their points this time around. I was looking at where teams were
तो
dropping.
पकड़
I
लिया
was
डब्लू
worried about
तो
down
पकड़ा
towards Primorsk because both
मतलब
E
कुछ नहीं
Arena
पकड़ा
and
किसी को
Influence Rage were dropping down in that
उसको
area.
पकड़ा
But E Arena sent a lot further up, and they will play that West Coast split. Again, just keeping that one going. Other than the E West Influence, I was looking at us. They got
a lot of teams to shove out here. Of Weibo towards the east, there's able to move across. Is teams dropping on top of one another? And
साला VP को पकड़ा भाई VP का दिन ही अच्छा नहीं जा रहा.
So maybe a long walk ahead of them.
Yeah, just gonna cut in here with Weibo because they're starting on the south side of Stalber. And again, I think that if you are, you don't really have to replay this, for sure. So yeah, VP is getting kind of trounced upon right now. But yeah, for Weibo, I think that they've got the lobby under wraps already. And I think they're quickly understanding what needs to be done because they're already sending central. They realize so many of these other squads just aren't moving. They just aren't moving off the center of the circle. They're not looking to pick up strong positions early on either. On Weibo, on the other hand, they're just like, well, we'll just pick a central spot that we can rotate freely from and then work from there because everyone's trying to play on the edge or just towards the center on the outer bounds. I think there's a little bit of a lack of confidence inside this lobby at the moment.
Maybe. Or maybe it's caution, right? Like, obviously, new lobby, don't know what's going on exactly. You should be aware of general principles, but every lobby is different. And we do keep chopping and changing them here at PMGC. Some familiar faces, some not so. And making sure that everybody is on a little uneven footing going into this one. So maybe they're feeling it more here in Group Red. So yeah, maybe it is a little bit not as bold as they potentially could be. And at the moment, there's a few teams taking advantage of that. Two teams over that 40-point boundary and Weibo up on 36. It's looking pretty decent and a really big drop-off down towards 6th place with Pregnant KIE only on 17 so far. ETSH currently passing that Stalber Hill, moving in on that south side of Severny as teams need to move farther north up here for the circle as it pops all the way up towards shooting range.
I did praise Weibo. This is a very greedy split from them, to be honest with you. They're playing towards Severny and the compound that just sits the west of Stalber. Both really strong positions, to be honest, especially the one off towards the western side of Stalber as well, John. If the circle does move over towards the northeast, you are going to see teams rotating towards that position very quickly. But this does keep Weibo pretty safe. They have an eye in over towards Severny, but Order's pretty okay in that spot as well because you can play the ridge line. Then you also have the 33Z trying to pick up a positioning shooting range. Wow, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's very, very big right now on the split. And maybe they'll look to regroup. I could see some vehicles being hopped into from the east flank, but not holding my breath. Alliance, they blasted out on the swamp side. They're on 29 points now, Blank, in 4th place, moving 2 and 2 right now. So they have got this is their rearmost position. They've got 2 players a lot further north, so Jimmy and Olio bringing up the rear. Not across that river yet. They're just to the east of Roshok right now, east of apartments. In the meantime, Burmese ghouls actually might have boars to deal with on the far side of this bridge. As the boars are sticking around, it seems. They don't want to get to the next circle. They're busy.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking the time. They're definitely taking the time with this. Slowly move across. DRX on the western side of things have crossed the bridge over towards the south side of shooting range. A little bit split off at the moment, just searching for position in the circle. It's a little bit more central, but again, you don't really want to be playing on the outer edges of the circle anyway. QXZ will send Easy for Bad Boy packing, but the rest of his team not so happy with the fact that they were rebuffed there. QXZ's coming back for round 2, okay.
He's just, he's letting them know, you know, for DRX, holding as much ground as you can in this area could be quite important. If the outward presence that they're trying to take, sure, it's a bit of a risk though, but at the moment, I think it's okay. I think if you did this in maybe 2 minutes time, that's where it starts to get a bit dangerous for something like that, for a play like that.
This is for us Indian viewers without commentary. क्या देखूं भाई, क्या मजा आएगा इसमें। देखते हैं फिर भी, हम ही कमेंट्री करते हैं। मतलब क्वालिटी भी खराब है स्ट्रीम का। पाँच पॉइंट हटी यार, मुझे लगा 5 किल तक। हेलो ठीक है, ठीक। बोल रहे कि खाना मत, अरे खाना मत अरे मत लीजिएगा। खाना लेने के लिए गया है तेज। क्या पुलाव लेके आ रहे, कहाँ से? वहां से? ठीक है ले आइए, लेकिन वो रोटी भी ला रहा है, बाकी कुछ खाने को ले आइएगा। अरे ले आइए, खा लिया जाएगा। ठीक है, ठीक। फाइट हो गया अभी टीआर का। कितना खराब क्वालिटी है, कैसे स्ट्रीम करूं मैं? बढ़िया बैकअप आया दिया। हेडी पास भी आ गया। बस बंद ही कर दूंगा मैं थोड़ी देर में गाइस, तो वॉचिंग मशीन तो आ नहीं रही है। बढ़िया, घुसो घुसो घुसो। मारा नाइस नाइस किल 3 किल हो गया आराम से एक केव में होल्ड कर रही डीआरएक्स ओके डीआर ने अच्छा निकाला फाइट वहां पे जोन नहीं दिखा रहा है यार थोड़ा मैप तो दिखाओ ये का अच्छा स्प्लिट है हार्ड शिफ्ट का और जोन ऊपर ही जा रहा है आज जी ये उधर ही भागेगा राइट तो नहीं जाएगा ये लेफ्ट ही जाएगा ऊपर ही गया ये लो ठीक है टीआर पे अच्छा जोन है अपने पे भाइयों का अच्छा कंट्रोल है शैक है रिजेस है वीडियो लाइन पे भी अच्छा जोन है Double 86743 जा रही है टीआर जोन में जा रही है यार की फाइट हो रही है अच्छा हुआ एक बच गया ना रिवाइव हो गया ना नेट डाल दी नेट खोल अरे क्यों मर गया क्या भाई क्लस्टर बन गया यार इधर दे दिया हाइड्रो फोड़ा भी है अरे यार देख लिया रे दल्ले ने मार दे यार चल आ गए एफएल वाले एक और टीम आ गई वाह सारा टीम पे टीम आई जा रही फ्री है क्या फ्री है ज्वाइन कर लेना ग्रुप में दिया है जल्दी आ स्टार्ट टाइम से ऊपर हो गया नहीं रुकेगा वो
इंटेंट दिखा रहे टीयर वाले तो मैं घुस के दे रहे
हाँ मर भी तो रहा है लेकिन
अरे अच्छा है ना लेकिन भाई एटलीस्ट नाक तो नहीं कटवा रहे
क्या कटवाना भाई नाक तो ना कटेगी ना बनेगी जीतेंगे तो थोड़ी इज्जत बढ़ जाएगी नाक ऑलरेडी कटी रखी है और क्या नाक कटेगी
अरे भाई एटलीस्ट 4v4 निकाल रहे हैं लोग घुस के दे रहे हैं वो देख के अच्छा लग रहा है
ठीक है लाडले डे 1 ही है अभी रुक जा डे 1 पे इंडिया टीम अच्छा खेलती है चल ज्वाइन कर ले पहले तू और 10 है जल्दी आ। चलो भाई मेरा मैच स्टार्ट हो गया मेरे को जाना पड़ेगा वॉच पार्टी बीच में ही बंद करनी पड़ेगी अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक मिनट मिलेगा चालू हो गया साले का तीर कमानगिरी नहीं रुक रहा है ये नहीं रुक रहा है कहाँ लेकिन जा रहा है इसका तीर कमान साला दिख नहीं रहा है किसको मार रहा है ये तीर बाय बाय है इसलिए बाय बोल रहा हूँ